I may or may not be going to see Superman today or tomorrow. We'll see what my kids want to do. But I did hear that Pedro Pascal, I think that's his name, was talking a lot in Superman, and I liked his voice in, you know, as Mando or whatever, and his dialogue with Grogu and so forth. But that was a filtered voice, you know. That was a filtered voice when he talks in other roles. Like I did like him in Wonder Woman, and I'm hoping he brings some of that. And then it seems like he's talking a lot in Fantastic Four also. I'm just not looking forward to that. Like I think he's a good actor, intense, but it seems like whatever powers or quasi powers that be, I can always see it in people, and it seems like he's not really a principle oriented person, that he sold out. You know, that's my feeling, and I trust that in myself, but I don't necessarily try to spread that out to other people. But yeah, so I'll be talking about Superman pretty soon because the movie looks straight stupid, doesn't it? Like from the previews, but it's Superman. I mean, a lot of people thought that about Henry Cavill. He was great in Witcher, the first 2, 3 seasons, and then it just got bad. Good actor, superb, and you know the dude's got a build. You know, I don't know what this guy is about. I know nothing about him. My son and I were looking it up a couple days ago. We'll see. We'll see. I think it's a completely different version of Superman though, so it'll be interesting. Well, I've been adding it up, and it's like I have close to 2 months worth of food here. I'm eating less. I'm training more, and so what this one's going to be called is my experience with trimethylglycine at a higher dose. You know, in fact, what I've seen good results occur around 5 grams, 5,000 milligrams. Then while I talk about this, I'm going to take another 1 to 2,000. They're 1,500 per scoop, but I'm kind of doing the scoops light as it is, right? And we took four scoops, so that's probably about 2,500. So I'm trying to hum around 7 grams is what I decided on. We'll mix that up. So I thought I was going to be eating a lot more eggs. I ordered I ordered 6, 12, 18. So I ordered 180 eggs last month, and I really tried to push myself. I could only get through about 120 of them, 2 full flats, maybe 130, 40. And then I just got really turned off of eating eggs, and I was like, no more. But I just made some. I did the water test. They sunk right down to the bottom. I've kept them very refrigerated the whole time. And so I've got these fresh eggs that are obviously going to last a month and a half, right? But you always have to test the eggs out because it was a month and a half ago that I bought these other eggs that I'm still eating. I've still got several of them. I just had like 4 hard-boiled eggs. So if you want a perfectly hard-boiled egg and you want to be able to easily de-shell them, I'd suggest putting a little oil in, right? A little olive oil is what I suggest. A little salt. Boil the water first, get it nice and boiling, and then put in your eggs, right? I put in 13 eggs. Everything's 13. Weird ass number, but it's all 13. Don't ask me. It has to do with phi or phi formulation. We talk about that a lot and a whole lot more. But for right now, I want to base this, since there's a myriad of different directions we could always go in at any time. I want to base this on the trimethylglycine and the fact that you'll be able to witness here that over the course of the next 2 months, where I have everything available to me, all my training is here. My TRX is in the other room. I got in phenomenal shape. You want to know what I did to get in that shape? Pretty much, I'm going to tell you, pretty much nothing but pull-ups from a pull-up bar that I have in the other room. I did curls. That really brings your biceps up more than anything when you're hanging and using your body weight. It's crazy. Then you really don't have to add much more in. And then you can do rows off a pull-up tower that has a bar dip on it, right? You can do like these, I'll say inverted rows, but you're like facing supinated. You're upward facing, obviously, and then you grab the pull-up handles and you're doing a row from that, right? And then body weight squats, jump squats, and bar dips and push-ups. That's what I did. Did one heck of a lot of leg raises because of my hip position. So I'm posterior pelvic tilted, right? Kind of a flat back, right? Because of that position that my hips are already in, I get a lot out of leg raises. I think that people who have an anterior pelvic tilt don't get a lot out of leg raises. You really have to look at that tilt, whether or not you're going to be. And to hit the lower abs, there's those old school windshield wipers where you go upside down, side to side. There's, drawing techniques and so forth. But to really innervate your lower abs when you have that anterior pelvic tilt is to lie face down on the ground, put your feet pointing toward the ceiling, and lift your ass up, and you go through that anterior, that posterior pelvic tilt. You're essentially, so my abs are pretty much active all the time. Like when I get on a bike and I start to pedal the bike, my lower abs are like hitting just as much as my hip flexors are. And you could say your hip flexors are your abs, because if you get lean enough, you're going to see the psoas, right? You're going to see all those muscles, right? Even to some extent, like you'll start to see the sartorius come out, right? That connective, that's the longest muscle in the human body. Like it's typically like a 15 or so inch long muscle. On average, it's said you have like 633, I think it is, to 650 muscles in your body, but some lists break it down to like 7, even 800 muscles. It depends on what you want to consider separate muscles, right? And then you have 206 bones in the human body. The human bones in the human body weigh anywhere between 18 and 22 pounds, right? We have 9 layers to the human body. So you really want to get into the physiology and understand yourself, and just how we're put together. And then from a kinesthetic standpoint, how certain exercises and exercise modalities interact with one another in sort of a, lack of a better, like an alchemical sort of way. That is to spot reduce. Like you could say that term doesn't exist, but it does, especially when you get into pre-fatigue, right? Where you go in and you pre-fatigue a muscle group and then you push it even more with a muscle group that, like, okay, doing some sort of core exercise where it's not really challenging your, like on the TRX, right? You go into a TRX chest press, your core is active the whole way through. Well, if you do a core exercise prior to and you're really trying to hit your core, you're not even going to be able to make it through that set and really challenge your triceps and your chest. It's almost all core exercise, right? And so if you really want to hit your core, you can pre-fatigue and do certain exercises prior to. Today, I'm going to be doing an interesting workout in the other room if I get around to it, but I don't mind taking another day off if my kids get home and end up wanting to go see Superman. I'll go do it. Heck yeah. Heck yeah, I don't know if it's going to be any good though. Like I said, Pedro Pascal is supposed to be talking a lot in it, and although, I mean, although he's so good, you know, in the Mandalorian, Mando or whatever, he's so good in that. His voice is heavily modified. I loved his bad guy character in Wonder Woman. I don't know if you agree, but I thought that was a badass movie. I typically don't like the movies that are like making the little skinny chick who can't pick up 10 pounds. But what is it, Glad Gadot? I think I probably assassinated her name. She's a good actress. Yeah, she's not all glamour based either. She's actually really was really good as Wonder Woman. I thought, right? And what else? He's been in a lot of movies, but he's going to be doing Fantastic Four as well, and that will be an interesting one as well. I'm really looking forward to seeing if he's bombing in all these movies because his name's gotten out there obviously, and he's doing a lot of projects now. And it's like, is he just pushing them out, or is he doing? Is there some advancement to his art, his technique, his craft an actor, right? So I'll probably end this one here, but please be sure to look out for my updates on the trimethylglycine. I'm keeping everything, all my nutrients are right up there. I'm not missing out on any nutrients. I've got food for the next 2 months. I've got all the training. I live in a beautiful area where I am getting out from time to time and doing hikes and walks and things like this. Down the road, if I can get one of these channels prospering, not hemorrhaging, right? I'd be doing this anyway, so the things that I'm doing really don't cost. I mean, other than like the phone and maybe getting some sound equipment, I bought a green screen that I don't even use that I'm going to be using in the near future for fitness videos when it gets to that point. When it does, not if. And the beauty is that I just did this last year, right? And it's coming back very rapidly, but it's because I'm doing the right things. In other words, the right things are more training, more full body training, more intense training, more isolation exercises, and then seeing how pathetic my workouts are. That's a real eye opener. It's like, wow, you're not going from set to set. You're breathing hard, but a lot of that has to do with the fatigue from all the high volume walking, which I've shown here. And I mean, that's like a quarter of my day, right? Like I'll walk and talk. Sometimes it's more talking than walking, admittedly. But I'll talk and walk sometimes 2 hours. Then I'll do another live stream. And it's like, I don't want to put people through that, but I'm just trying to document at the same time what I'm doing because I do look back at those videos. And it's priceless, immeasurably, to be able to go, where was I during that time? That's why I do these, right? It's to create some sort of breadcrumb trail where it's like, okay, when was I 186 pounds and then 183 pounds and 181 pounds? How fast did I lose that weight? What direction did I go in? What could I do differently? What do I have now available to me to where I could do things different? And that's when I ordered this trimethylglycine because I was reviewing and I'm going, yeah, that's right. That stuff worked great. Wow, maybe I should get more. Maybe I should research that again. And then since I did that a year and a half ago or so, maybe a little over a year ago, there's been many other posts by other influencers that are saying this stuff works, this stuff's good, and this is why. So there's doctors, there's people who are more in the fitness arena. I've had doctors working under me in the fitness field, health and fitness field, because I knew so much and I was so good at what I did as a trainer, working as a manager, as a trainer, working as a high level, you could say master trainer. I was offered a master trainer position, but I didn't want to take it because I had so many clients. I was so successful that I had like well over 60 clients I ended up giving a lot of clients to other people and really trying to match them with the appropriate people, right? But then I work 17 and a half hours a day. Like, I actually won a lawsuit. And I erased that last video because I don't need any lawsuits against big, ugly companies that shouldn't even be in business anyway. But, I know now that if I were to take the information and the knowledge back, this isn't going to be a big tirade about beef liver. So don't think I'm going there. I'm just saying that it made such a difference in my life. And if you really can't eat it and you've got a little more money and you want to figure out what kind of supplement you can take, well, the bio serum from proteinfactory.com, Alex, amazing information, long history, all amazing products. I couldn't rave about Protein Factory more or say better things about it. And if you are natural, if you are, if you're a noob in the ped world and you just started on it, if you've been cycling and bodybuilding for many years, you got at least 5 or 7 years behind you, he's got something to heal you back and to put you back in balance, things that you wouldn't even have thought of. I mean, he's in the know. He's in the know. This, when you say ancillary supplies, no, this is nutrition. If people don't order from proteinfactory.com, they haven't gotten serious yet. So the bioserum, that's something to very much look into. Smells terrible, tastes terrible, so you know it's good for you, right? And you can get all the nutrition, even in a more condensed, unified way that is specifically for muscle building, bodybuilding. And that's really what bodybuilding really is, right? Other than all the steroids and the juice and the growth hormone and everything else, it really comes down to you challenging your body, quickly assimilating nutrients and really being in homeostasis in order to do that. And you looking at what you have, working with what you have, and bettering yourself, right? So I was very pleased with the Tribulus that I took. A lot of that low quality Tribulus saturated the market. Then when people started to report their findings, of course they were waning. But Alex Rogers, he stuck by his guns because the highest quality Tribulus extract works. I'm currently doing Long Jack, and I think there might even be, let me go in there and look. I think there's Tribulus in the Long Jack that I'm taking. Oh, take a look. Yeah, so we've got now this is just Tonkat root. I think that I was thinking about taking one that had Tribulus. Let me see what the expiration is at, 2027. So I think I was thinking about taking one, and I went, no, I want to kind of try this as a standalone. And I have seen undeniable marked results. They're like certain hormones and pre-hormone reactions that many people will just sit there and go, it's making me nervous, it's making me, have anxiety, it's pissing me off, I don't like it. And the primary reason why you'll experience a lot of these, you're taking too much. And that's with anything that's dealing with, you have your, how I used to train women is like you have your follicular stimulating hormones, you have luteinizing stimulating hormones, and the time for females to try to do the most is right around the cycle. Like that's when people want to back off and eat their cookies, right? Well, women should be training hardcore for 5 to 9 days out of the month, specifically targeting it. And it may seem like the worst time, but it's the best time to get. You could say that that's the only time that you're really going to get the most results from your training, So I trained predominantly women in the past and had good success, and that's why, because I looked into it. If you're not basing everything around hormones, then you're missing the bigger, larger part of the picture. And so when we talk about orthomolecular science and nutrition, well, what do you think it does? That's exactly what it does. That's why vitamin C is so crucial. Why do you think that goats are so resilient and they produce anywhere between 6 and 12 grams of vitamin C internally, not even going through stress? And then that number can go up to 30 to 60,000 milligrams of vitamin C internally when they're going through stress. They're masters at stress adaptation. Why does their vitamin C go up? So when you look at this world of stress that we're in, where it's not going to diminish outside, but we can combat how we react to the stress and the stimuli, starting on vitamin C. You know how cheap it is. So there's the biggest arguments come down to ascorbic acid, whether or not and how efficacious it is, right? And then getting into conjecture about, well, Linus Pauling, he might have lived till he was 93 years old and adhered to this, preached it, proselytized it, but he and his wife died of cancer, right? And you could almost say, like his wife died of stomach cancer, and I believe he died of prostate cancer, and both could be correlated and contributed to just toxifying effects, right? What I experienced, which was very odd, when I first started on high dose vitamin C, is my piss was like consistently speckled with something, but I almost feel like it was me purging out. It almost seemed like I was purging out iron, right? It was boosting my iron levels up, but then purging out iron that I wasn't going to use out of my system. I don't know how to describe it, but that happened for the first good several weeks that I was on that, right? And when I started to do beef liver along with that, it changed. When I started to boost up the iron, the heme iron, they started to work co-combatively of just allowing my energy levels and my homeostatic balance, my pH balance, but also all of my nutrients and vitamins and then macronutrients. My cravings have gone down considerably. So in beef liver, you also have CQ10, which is huge. I mean, like I say, for $2.50 per week, you will be saving hundreds of dollars on supplements just by including beef liver in your diet. And if you don't like the flavor, get used to it. If you can afford to take supplements, you got proteinfactory.com, Alex Rogers, a master in the field of one of my favorite subjects, if not my favorite subject, which is amino acids, right? And how amino acids compete and synergistically work in our bodies to promote and produce optimal health. And that is why it is crucial to take in your B vitamins, your magnesium, to get in the calcium from sardines that's actually absorbable, right? These things are very important to look at with a very crucial eye, because one little change in your diet, like, look, it would cost you $3 and not even 50 cents to buy 3 cans of sardines. You're set. And then if you want to keep bringing in the omegas, get some omega-3 rich eggs, and you've got every nutrient that you need. Then you just need to add boron. And so I'm not going to go on about it, but what I will say is I've got this great platform. I've got all the nutrients, all the exercise, all the support, right? And if you're not using those supportive mechanisms like orthomolecular.com, proteinfactory.com, just go on proteinfactory.com to read the articles. But also NAPS gear, which is the AAS PEDs, right? If you're not, and I'm not telling you to go on here for this, I'm saying that if you were to go onto this website and just read about how these different um, aids work, and never touching a pet, never getting sucked into that, there's a wealth of information that tells you how things work. It's insane. These guys are master scientists and very wealthy now. Um, this guy who runs Napsgear um, was using Bitcoin and Litecoin back in 2011, right? For as a payment process. You're talking about one rich dude, one rich organization right there. And validating all suspicions. Surprised he doesn't have Monero there, that these quote unquote criminal enterprises are heavily using cryptocurrency. It ain't no lie. Trump's doing it right now. Why do you think Bitcoin's up to $120,000 per Bitcoin? And it's going to dip again. When the dip dips, when the dipshit is out of office, and hopefully his wife will get deported. I did a whole rundown on that stuff, and she's literally, her name, I don't even want to get into it. Her name is evil. It's like she comes from an evil line of people. She's not a good person. She's a self-serving, angry, vindictive, evil person. And you can see it all over her seething face, you know? And can you imagine somebody who could stand being around that fat bozo? My God. My God, I've hated Trump. I've always hated Trump. Always. I've never watched his shows. I read one of his books. It was his answer to The Secret, because The Secret was so big at that time. It was, I don't even remember what the name was. But I think it was like How to Get Rich or something like that. And it was recommended by somebody way back in the day, like an influencer. So I thought I would check it out. But it was probably written by someone else. It was written completely not in his words. Everything is like postured, right, with him. He is such a fake piece of shit. He's a fat, terrible. Jeffrey Epstein said he's one of the worst human beings. Jeffrey Epstein said that about him. Think about that. He's a fucking fat bozo piece of shit. I don't even have energy to waste on him, but he's fucking some things up, you know? So try to stay positive with all the stress, all the terrible things happening around you. You can focus in on yourself and do your very best to be your very most positive self. And it begins with self-affirmations, but no self-affirmation is going to bring your health back up. You're going to need those general constituents. So I really try to lay those out on this channel. And one of the primary reasons that everyone should be taking trimethylglycine is that you want to lower your homocysteine levels, right? You want to lower anything that's going to create inflammation and that's going to produce unhealthy cellular results, right? And so again, vitamin C, but I would also say that you may want to look into methylene blue, right? Because the methylation aspect to not only TMG, methylene blue, and vitamin C would create I'm not going to say an unstoppable, a power triage, but you might even want to throw in some collagen protein with that, right? But you've got to get yourself walking, right? You got to get yourself walking. This is how you force that vitamin C into these unhealthy cells. If you think that you're turning diabetic, I mean, this whole bullshit about keto turning people diabetic, long term, honestly, be honest with yourself. What do you think is going to produce worse results over time? Eating nothing but rice and sugar and some fruit, right? This is the top of the pyramid of the skeleton diet. And I'm not talking bad about him over there. I like him. I'm always supportive. I like watching his videos. Great smile, great person, but great energy. That's the one thing I really love about the high carb, the majority of the high carb people. And even the high carb generator, like, dude, you have too much stress. You're going through too much stress, and you need to lower that stress. And maybe it means making a move, because the thing that you see that him not doing, that other people like Durian Rider are doing, is they're literally exercising all day and riding their bikes. And I think that's a testament to the fact that you could eat you could eat all the wrong things. I'm not really saying that. Glycolysis is a natural. I mean, we're supposed to eat carbohydrates when things don't get dysfunct and all fucked up, right? I've got to get rolling, but we're going to call this a 1.